Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with J. Gordon Duncan. And if you're wondering why the J, the answer is, I'm not a bagpipe player. And if that joke doesn't make any sense, I encourage you to check out episode 0, where I explain that joke, as well as the purpose of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast, where we talk about faith, family, fitness, finances, and sometimes fun. Hey friends, thank you so much for coming back to the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast. It means a ton that you're here every week watching and listening. Thank you for your likes and reviews. I appreciate all the feedback you gave me over last week's episode, which was about being consistent, creative, and putting out quality work on social media. Again, if you have any more questions about that, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I love teaching on that kind of content. I want to see people grow their businesses and their brands. So again, friends, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, for your comments, your reviews, subscriptions, and feedback. Mean a ton to me. I want to be a little honest with you today, sitting here just kind of being casual with a cup of coffee, and talk about the loneliness of being an entrepreneur, the loneliness of being a small business owner, basically the loneliness of being in charge of your own income. Now, we're all in charge of our own income. If you work a job that you show up at 8 and you leave at 5, you're in charge of your own income if you're an hourly worker. Of course you are. If you go, or if you, let me say it the opposite way, if you don't go, you're going to lose your job. If you go and do well, hopefully there's an opportunity for promotion, those kind of things. We're all in charge of our own income, each one of us. However, if you are a small business owner, or if you're an entrepreneur, if your livelihood comes directly from you, and if you don't work, you don't eat kind of thing, it's incredibly lonely. You know, in a job like this, if you own your own business, if you're an entrepreneur, whatever the case may be, you know, the adage is, you eat what you kill. It's like in sales. If I want to eat, I got to go out and hunt and kill like the old days. I got to go hunt and kill it and bring it back. Well, if you own your own business, if you're an entrepreneur, it's the same way. You've got to go get it and bring it back. And if you don't, you don't have income. And so that means there's always an aspect of everything. That means the product or the service is up to you. That means the sales is up to you. That means the marketing is up to you. Eventually, businesses grow to such an extent that you can hire out some of those services. But when you get started, it's all on you. It's incredibly lonely. There's a great book called E-Myth Revisited. It's the entrepreneur myth, E-Myth Revisited. And it tells the story of a baker. And the baker made these incredible cakes and pies in a bakery. But the baker didn't own the bakery. There was an owner. And so people would come in, they're like, oh, you know what? I come in for these amazing cupcakes. And the baker in the back's like, I make those cupcakes. But the owner's getting all the money. Some point in time, the baker goes, I just should start my own bakery. Like, okay, it's America, go for it. So the baker went out and started their own bakery. And 6 months later, they were miserable. They're like, you know what? I get here at 3:30 in the morning. I have to start baking. And then I have to have them ready by the time we open. And then I have to sell them. And then I've got to get everything ready for the next day. And then at night, I'm paying the bills. And I'm updating QuickBooks. And then I fall into sleep and I start over and do it again at 3:30 in the morning. That is the life quite often, not for everyone, but for most realtors too, entrepreneurs and small business owners. It's where things start. And that's incredibly lonely. Again, the idea is that you want to grow and hand those things off. No one can do all of those things forever. But in the midst of that, it's lonely. I'd say the primary loneliness comes in the acquisition of clients, maybe sales. Because if you're doing what you love, if podcasting was my career, this would probably be the most enjoyable part of the day. The other things would not be the production, the selling of it, the going out and getting sponsorships and that kind of thing. If you start a business, you quite often love the thing you do. Maybe not forever. You may grow to hate it. But the loneliness is I've also got to go get clients and customers. I have to market. I have to have people tell me no. I have to have people tell me nothing. They ghost me and that kind of thing. I was speaking with a very successful small business owner, entrepreneur just today. And I mean, they're doing well. Sales have come in, they've grown, the business has grown, they're in a good spot. But they said they still live and die by that yes or no. you've got a client, potential client, you're meeting with them, you're talking to them, and you finally talk to them and they go, you know what, we've just decided we're not going to go with you. And they still feel that pain. Or they've been working with someone, and you're like, yeah, I think this is going to happen, and then all of a sudden they get ghosted, and they no longer get return texts or calls. I'm telling you, I experience it now. I do. I mean, I've got folks that I'm like, hey, let's set up an appointment the 1st of August. I'm like, great. You set up a Zoom, you get on there, and the initial conversation is great. Like, I really enjoy talking to you, but I need to let you know we're not going to go with you right now. And you're like, ugh. I mean, you try to detach the emotion, and you try to detach the you try not to make it personal, but it's still there. And then I have potential clients that I'm chasing that just disappear sometimes. And they might come back or they might not, and you're like, what happened? And so in and of itself, it's a lonely endeavor. Now, some folks may say, I love working alone. I'd rather be alone, or I love working with just me and one other person. I get that. That is attractive to a lot of small business owners, entrepreneurs. I get it. But there's still moments of loneliness. Who do I share this with? Who has the burden with it? So what I'd like to do is give you a couple of tips or a couple pieces of advice. Because I've been doing this in some way for a long time. My first business was in 2003, and that was just me working with eye doctors. I would say the early stages of planting churches is immensely lonely. I can say being a pastor at times is immensely lonely. And I can say doing what I do now is immensely lonely. Look, I'll be honest with you. I'm having more joy in my career right now than I've ever had, but I still have moments of immense loneliness. Because owning a business, or being an entrepreneur, however you want to say it, is lonely. So let me give you a couple of tips. Things that I try to apply. They don't always work, but things that might help. Well, I can't cure loneliness, but I can offer some help here. First of all, I encourage you to connect with people who can relate to what you're going through. Now, you may say, Gordon, I don't want to connect with people in my community because of my competition. Okay, great. Then you got to find a coaching group. Join a coaching group of people who can relate to what you're going through. Because if you don't have a network of some point, you are going to be immensely lonely. It's going to be compounded. I was in my coaching group just yesterday, and the mastermind I'm a part of. And I was telling them, I was like, hey, I've got this client, and they're so much smarter than I am. And the guy leading the group's like, you need to stop right there, Gordon. I was like, why? He goes, you don't know if they're smarter than you are. They're gifted in a different skill set than you. But he was great. He pumped me up. He goes like, that person chose you to be their coach. You have a skill set they need. Don't talk to yourself that way. And I'm a huge positive self-talk person. I really am. And I didn't even realize I was saying that to myself. And I needed that coaching group to say that into my life. So I encourage you greatly. If you can't have a local, face-to-face network of people in your field that are going to encourage you, then pay for a coaching mastermind or a group of people together who are committed to speaking to each other's lives that way. Because you've got to have it, or the loneliness is going to compound. You're going to become more and more just hidden away from the world. You've got to have a connectivity of people who understand what you're going through. So please, please, please find a mastermind, pay for a coaching group, or just put together some friends who are committed. The biggest thing is commitment. It's hard to get it organically done because people are busy. If you pay for a mastermind or a coaching group, you'll have what you need. If it's a good one. I've got recommendations. You can sign up for hours. I've got others you could recommend too. So first point, to combat that loneliness, you got to have a network of people who understand. 2, I'm going to tell you this. You've got to attempt to be physically healthy. You really, the data between physical fitness and the battle of loneliness is very clear. I'm not saying exercise cures depression, and I'm not even necessarily speaking of depression, though it's often related. I'm talking about the loneliness. You might say, Gordon, how in the world is exercising going to battle loneliness because I exercise by myself? Great question. The physical benefits of being healthy enable you to have a greater ability to battle the loneliness. Your brain is going to be more clear and functioning if you are working out in some capacity. And I'm not telling you what that workout needs to look like. I'm not telling you to lift weights or run or walk, whatever the case may be. I'm telling you, you've got to have a consistent workout regimen of some sort. Doesn't have to look like mine, doesn't have to look like anyone else's, but it's got to be consistent. Because the brain is healthier when you are working out and moving towards health. And again, I'm not saying working out cures depression or even necessarily cures loneliness, but you will be better equipped to think through the process if you are part of an exercise regimen. If you want to move your mind, move your body. Move your body, move your mind. Move your body, move your mind. Move your mind, move your body. They're intricately related. And I know that in the entrepreneur small business journey, it's very easy with the long hours and the work to allow your health to decline. And I'm not saying anyone's got a ton of extra time lying around, but finding a specific time for it is going to help. Mine's in the morning. 9 times out of 10, I'm working out in the morning. I get up and go for my run, wake up at 4:40. I try to get it before the day starts. That's what works for me. It may not work for everybody. And don't get me wrong, I love my sleep, but I also know that if I get up and I get that 45 minutes to an hour in, I know my brain is healthier in that day. And the brain helps you think through the processes in the midst of the loneliness. So, one, you've got to have a network, whether one that's put together organically or one that you pay for. Someone that you're willing to talk through these things, people who speak into your life. Two, I greatly encourage physical fitness, a workout regimen of some sort. It does not have to be mine, doesn't have to look like others. Three, your diet. Listen, I love coffee. How many times have I been on the show with coffee? Tons. But you know what? I counter my coffee with a ton of water. I just don't typically get here with a water bottle. Sometimes I do. But if I'm going to drink coffee, I got to have water. And I also know that, as I take a sip of coffee, if I'm jamming candy and sugary foods and a ton of bread, my brain is blasted with sugar and my body's not going to be healthy. And if I don't have a healthy diet, it's going to be very hard for me to battle loneliness. Because when you have an unhealthy diet and you're purposely pursuing it, it's going to attack your mind. It's going to make those lonely thoughts increase. It's going to make you feel more guilty. Again, I'm not saying a healthy diet cures depression because we're not talking about depression. I'm saying a healthy diet is going to give you the tools to help you battle loneliness. And it's 100% true. I know that if I go on a 2 or 3 bender where I eat poorly and I don't care and I just do things that are not healthy for my body and my brain, I know that the symptoms of that for me are going to be over-concern, anxiety, and loneliness. And if you will implement and make some sacrifices in that area, it's going to help you with the loneliness of an entrepreneur small business. Because again, that in and of itself is a lonely profession. It has the great rewards that I love, but it can be very lonely. So let me sum that up. Guys, you've got to be a part of a group. Find a group of people either locally or online who are committed to talking to each other and encourage each other. I am greatly encouraged to pay for coaching or mastermind services. Reach out to us if you're interested. Someone else is fine with me. Go with me, someone else. 2, you got to have some sort of workout regimen, something consistent. If you go back to last week's talk about the consistency of social media with 3 days a week, 3 days a week is a minimum on that whole workout regimen. It's got to make an impact. And 3, guys, you've got to have healthy approaches to eating. You can't blast sugar, can't blast alcohol, can't blast bread all day long and expect your brain to be healthy, expect your body to be healthy. It can't. So this approach to life with entrepreneurship, small business, it's given to loneliness. There's a highs and lows, and sometimes the lows last a lot longer than the highs do. And the tools you have in your toolkit are joining a group, getting coaching, getting a mastermind. They are getting a regular physical fitness regimen and eating well. It's the basics. Everything I just told you, you probably all know. You're like, wait a minute, Gordon, you've got a show? This is all you got? And I'm like, yes, the basics work. Old school gets it done. Old school of connectivity, a diet, and exercise, get it done. Please, please, please don't go at this alone. If you're interested in coaching, reach out to me. Go to capitalizeyourbest.com or reach out to me directly. And if you don't want to go with me, I can tell you someone else to go with, or you can find it yourself, but just don't go it alone. Try to get that minimum 3 days a week of exercise. And friends, you got to think about what you're eating. You got to get rid of all the sodas, the candy. I'm not saying you can't ever have it, but you can't have a regular consistency of it because it's just not good for your brain and your body. I hope this is encouragement to you. I'm not trying to preach to you. Every single thing I just mentioned, I have failed at various times and still can fail at it now. But what I want you in your entrepreneurial small business journey, what I want for you is to be healthy. I want you to have the tools when loneliness set in, because loneliness is going to set in. And these are the tools that I've seen best battle that. Again, friends, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I can't wait till next week. If you want to learn more about our coaching program, go to capitalizeyourbest.com. Or if you want to join our group, which is perfect for small businesses and entrepreneurs, go to our Facebook group at Capitalize Your Best. I'll remind you, though, there's 3 membership questions. That protects us from bots. And so answer the 3 questions and we'll let you in. If you don't answer the 3 questions, we can't let you in because it's specifically to protect people from bots. Answer the questions, we'll let you right on in. So guys, I love it. I can't wait to see you again next week. We have guests coming up soon and we'll talk again next week. Thanks, friends. Bye-bye.
How do you shorten the time it takes to buy a car? Car buying just got easier. Pohanka365.com lets you complete as much or as little of the car buying process online. Pohanka365.com. Car buying simplified. Anytime, anywhere.
Small business owners, you should be praised for wanting to grow your business. That's a good thing, and not everybody has the guts to do it. As a business owner myself, I know you've overcome obstacles that people don't even know about. Hi, my name is Gordon Duncan, the owner of Capitalized Marketing and Consulting, and I want you to know that if your business hasn't grown like you wanted to, it's not your fault. If it's not COVID getting in the way, it's ridiculous things like changing social media algorithms. You're right in thinking that very few people are doing small businesses any favors right now. But Capitalized Marketing and Consulting is here to help. We've created a 90-day course that is guaranteed to grow the revenue of your business. It will give you the tools that you've been looking for, and as a certified coach, I would be with you along the way. If you would like to learn more about our program, just visit capitalizeyourbest.com and get started enjoying the success you deserve. Again, that's capitalizeyourbest.com, and I can't wait to celebrate all you accomplish.